on the streets of Trongen. She's taking 3 kids back to her place. The 2 children looked excitedly at the street, glad to roar through so many people, so big city. You see, my sister laughed. Hey, don't run around, especially on the road where it's dangerous. The 2 children stopped. I turned to Siley. It's a naughty kid. I'm not tired all the way. Siley laughed and replied, Is Lin having a hard time? Lin replied excitedly, No, I'm excited. I can't believe you guys. The outside has changed so much in the last few years. Yes, can I buy the newspaper in advance? I also want to go to the money. Siley was surprised to ask, How do you know about newspapers and money? Lin had too. I received a newspaper before. Others throw it on the ground, but that seems like an old newspaper. Thanks to the blessing of that, I know the concept of this city. But I still want to see the news. Siley happy, agree haha be. In my head thinking, the name is not the afterlife of love. The ability to absorb much stronger than myself. At Siley's house, you've just brought 3 of them home. Open the door and talk. This is our home. Look at the bright, spacious house. The 2 excited kids ran up and reclined on the sofa. Carry on luggage goes behind praise. You have to be quick to buy a house at the school. You shit right? This is the unit for you. Your Majesty makes policy. Public servants like you will be divided. And the front is small, but the furniture is full. The kids are still curious about what's new here. Look at the faucet. They say the water's bad. Sile raised his hands to the sky. I'm happy to say that the most important thing is, we don't need to worry about fear here. Lin also said, Siley, you are hard. Laughing, I have to go. We have to buy a lot of stuff. In the supermarket, while Lin and Siley were shopping, an employee came to say, Sorry, I have to ask you to confirm this. She turned around and asked what to do. The staff continued, but no need to worry. I've sent the documents. Something needs to be done. He handed her the bag and told Lin. I was here before I went for a walk. Here's a bag of cash. I'll be running through it soon. The money bag says, This is a job I don't know. Go quickly. 01 I went for a walk in the supermarket. These are all strange things to you. Look around a circle. A sense of exasperation. This safe school is full of things you've never seen before. Holding quality objects in her hands, she thought. More expensive. It can't be cheaper. At this time, a staff member came to say, Dear customer, do you need any help? If you don't understand, I can help you solve it. Come back over an hour. Lady, I'd like to ask if this is for sale. How much money can you be rewarded? The employee's eyes widened in surprise. It's at the next counter right now. Saved, and Ellie checked. Ellie, holding the list in her hand, said, Missing GIA. If that's the case, the merchant fleet will do these things. And the old man said, Just arrange it like this. Then he noticed the conversation between Lin and the employee. The employee is embarrassed. This must be this lady. I can't control this. Let me ask the owner. Drink up. Something has to be quick. I have to go to the next row. The clerk came to ask the owner. The owner was surprised to say that. I went to the party at the same time. What happened? The clerk came back to say hello. I'm with Lady Ellie. Then tell the story. Is so your guest. Comes from the Tozola company. She said she has a big order to negotiate with me. I'm going to go there and talk to her. I was surprised to say so. Then think wrong. Company of Torala. It's not in the city of Haiyan. Maybe they run faster than me. I haven't found anything yet. I want you to answer this for me. The owner agreed, yes. Save feudal to Lin said, Lady, I am the owner of this shop. I heard you're a trader in the dollar trade. I don't know what I can do for you. When you see the wind coming, you say A. Hello, president of my association. President Joker, you know what? He commissioned me to pick the goods and bring them back to the Empire. So I'm cleaning up. But there's a lot of good stuff here. Especially if this is a treasure. I can predict. It'll shine on the other side of the ocean. Thanks for the compliment. Linda opened 2 different bottles. He said the estimates the president gave me were limited. I bought these. There's not enough money on you to buy this. He looked surprised to say that. So I want to ask the boss. Can you sell this for cheap? I can guarantee that the one I choose is here. There will be a large order in 3 days. I know what you think, I know. I understood in my heart. I want to borrow the name of the company. To buy cheap. I don't know where she knows about the trade union. But you can think about taking advantage of this. Also very smart. If you are a normal employee at the store, maybe I agree. Even though Kier's stock is very large, it is still very positive. Siley's done the job now. Have fun with Tay. Lim, you're back. But I saw the wind and Ellie standing there. C lay stuttering pedestal. Your Majesty. You know this guy, you know this guy. I think my sister called the owner, Your Majesty. Terrified of screaming something. Sweating and saying, I'm sorry. Sei Feng immediately said, Don't stress. I want to know. Where did you know about the trade show? Why think about taking advantage of this title? Excited to reply. Of course, from the article you published. Save Wind Surprise Newspaper, SAO. Then he continued. It's a habit of doing business with me. Going to another place will not be able to refrain from collecting 10 news. Then take advantage of this news to do something. Du Fong satisfied reply. Silly has this. I'd like to ask you and this lady to negotiate. Are you two free now? Everyone goes to the Emperor's palace here. The spirit is still restless. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I'm so sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to. Liu Feng replied laughing. Don't worry, I didn't notice. I invited you and Siley here, and there's something else. The 2 girls asked about something else. Your Majesty, what's the matter? I brought some documents for you to see. The glass received a thank you. Reading material on hand. Lai Sei in SAO business activities. Sei Feng immediately replied. Yes, mainly. Send the national letter of the Han dynasty to the Tazila Empire. He also did business in the Empire. Tozola, I think you are the right person. I would like to invite you to be the leader of the company. Toyota Rear has the corresponding Lao remuneration. You can see it first. She and Siley answered yes. Look at the amount paid. The 2 girls were so amazed they couldn't speak. Relate here 10. 101,000, 10,000, that much money. He also continued. Your Majesty, this number is not misspelled. Lin stood up and said, Baby, if I'm not mistaken. Behind this business, There's actually another activity. I hope there is a positive response. To hide. A few words don't need to be said. More specifically, wait for you to agree. I can tell you. But I can also make sure. I'll do my best to minimize the risk. That you're also in charge of the company. When you hear it, I understand. In your heart, you understand that. I just need to perform for good. A legitimate trader. Don't worry about the back. Top key or beach. Foreign market, new customs, new world. Although very dangerous, but it's not what I wanted later. His eyes lit up, and he was filled with excitement. Then you stand up and say it. Your Majesty, I agree, but I have my request. Happy to meet you. My sister's house is too small now. Can you arrange a bigger house for us? Preferably 4 bedrooms, 1 living room. Lin's words startled him to the brim of his eyes. Open mouth. The glass says. I don't want 4 people either. We Chen wish in a small room. Sile was afraid to blame. But I can't ask your Majesty. Sei Feng happily replied, no, I agree. Tomorrow, after Ellie finds everyone. Everyone can move in. Lin happily replied, oh. Thank you, I will definitely do well. Sile is still a little unhappy. Thank you, your Majesty. Then he turned around and laughed at Sile, who was sighing. Sile said quietly, but it has to be. Also, looks like she found something she's interested in again. Get excited. Your Majesty, you can now ask for specific details of the task. But of course. At the food stand, the French call the next person. The recipient of the food spoke loudly. There's just not enough to eat today. People are giving out food. There's only so much here. Don't stop the person behind you. The animal is angry, grabbing the crook's collar. I came to fight the enemy. I didn't come to be hungry. Did you hide the food? What are the people behind you panicking about? The person who gives the food is afraid to not touch the food. There was a commotion outside. The 2 princes went into words with the great prince. Honey, there's a commotion outside because of the food. The great prince finished listening to the fat black maximum anger. These people can't stop. The 2 princes assured him that they had stopped him. But going on like this is not the way. Now the dragon army above and below has fluctuated. Yesterday alone, there were 6 fights. Keep going like this. The prince was angry with the people. I know I'm thinking of ways too. But there's also a problem with weapons being confiscated. There's no weapons and no food. We were rejected outside the city. You can also do SAO. The 2 princes sat down and thought about how, but not for long. The prince shouted away. I don't think I have a headache and drink. AI from outside the door ran into the subordinates to say, the Lord of the Sea has arrived. People from the sea say, or be subdued. The master said, I've come to take a group of politicians to Hai Duong City. The prince related to the west came to ask, what to do in the private sea. The king replied, don't worry. Just fixing the road. We're not going to do anything, people's knights. According to our previous agreement, to stop people from running out of food, we will provide certain work. Let people get food. This time to Qinghai, it's because we provide the work. Probably about 2,000 people. The prince stroked his chin, thinking that Ra was it. In my head thinking, 2,000 people could save no less. And get a little bit back. Then he said yes. Then you can make fun of yourself. The man from the sea bowed his head and said yes. Then I report from. He just turned away. He looked back at the great prince who was speaking happily. We have to go. The food problem has been solved. We went for a drink. The names of the two princes replied Van Ca. Within the realm of the palace, the army of the gods is coalescing. Pull the troops forward. In the temple, a subordinate was asking the cardinal. Master Knight Empire Mix Pro. Do we ever listen to our control? The master replied. They're just precious lives ahead of them. We don't need their loyalty. I hope nothing happens. The army is still moving forward. But don't know that in the trees. There were soldiers in ambush. Imperial Palace Theocratic Army is marching. There's two people hiding in the bushes. Bow up and shoot toward the army of the gods. For an hour, an arrow flew. Straight to the gods. Fresh blood shoot out. The arrow pierced through a man of the gods. The person next to me panicked. Can't do anything yet. There's arrows coming from everywhere. The gods run riot. Hurry up with the shield. But it doesn't work. Those guys shouted, "Hey, there's an enemy in the forest." The family military money commander. I see the noise behind. He asked his subordinates what was wrong there. Why is it so loud? One of his subordinates picked up the C. Call out to the owner. The fifth officer in the back was attacked. The leader was startled and didn't believe anything. Then turned the horse back. Behind the command of the soldiers, everyone. All troops out. I didn't wait for him to do anything. Echoing the powerful sound of killing. To kill an army of yellow flags. The tiger stopped in front of him. His face changed and he didn't believe what he saw. People of Fabro. Over there, the front is being beaten by the army of the checkered shore. In space echoed the sound of slashing each other. Don't overhear. Central army out palace. I can hear the movement over there. The whole army is uneasy. The cardinal inside heard a noise. Then the curtain came out. He asked the man next to him where the noise came from. What's going on? A subordinate on horseback galloped to panic notice. Our army has betrayed us. The luck of the Grand Master. The Lord God shrugged and shouted something. He looked his head out. Order your troops to crack down immediately. Stand up and dare to do this. Not waiting for the professor to finish. Another subordinate flew to the cardinal newspaper. The army is also attacking us. We're surrounded. There's a team of soldiers. It's coming towards us. The cardinal heard the news in a sweat. I don't know what to do. On the other side, there's a battle going on. Between the godly army and the Fapro army. Two people are flying in from a distance. One said, in front of you is Yajin's place. I can't sit on a horse. Then turn around and tell the army behind you. Don't be greedy and kill by catching red dead or alive. The army behind him shouted yes. A man who galloped ahead pointed to the carriage and said, I see, that's the carriage. Brothers up. As I said, he flew the sword. Excited expression screamed out. The reward is ours. but not in time to crash. He was struck by a sword. Without leaving a final word, from the dust, come out a person who looks tall. Turn to the pink deacons. They say force is a crime. But the spell says the power to fight for God. Hundreds of crimes are also excused. The man who said that was a tall man. To lead an army of theologians. He shouted to his client, "Show me your strength. Take down my poor thing." Another side, the gods of the gods are mad. AI's face is also contorted and twisted to kill people. When you're done, shout to the sky. God's people, all in front of you. The test was sent down by the gods. Courage to face it. Then those people came up to fight again. Not know how tired. The mouth is still screaming. Then win the fight for God kill. In the mountain above, the princess and her followers saw it all. A man came to tell his majesty. The man of God. Stronger than we thought. Someone else said, "Your majesty does not accept," stopped by the spellman. God's voice said coldly, taking advantage of religious beliefs, "I like the will of soldiers. This is the trump card of the gods." Then he ordered the defilement of the fait accompli. Let's start. The two deacons and the white deacons nod their heads and say yes. In the army of the gods, the teachers are still stimulating the will of all. People don't have to be afraid of them. They're just weak non-believers. The spell will not protect them. We're talking here. He was stabbed to death by a knife. He said he would fight in the end. Before he finished, he collapsed. The subordinates below are afraid. I can't believe screaming. The Reverend. It's not time for the gods to decide. The bald men came from afar to take up arms. Slashed towards the gods. The gods were hacked. Just scream the carpet full of pain, but still don't forget to scream guilty, AAA. God's judgment. He or pink accepts the tense face. Hate to say, hateful. In the pink mind, the thought doesn't even stop. It will increase the opportunity to fight. But you have to do something. I just won this monster. The guy with the hammer just killed a soldier. I said accept God's punishment. People without faith. A wind tearing Ra a long chain. He's flying to the master with the hammer. Chain quickly wrapped around Kier's neck. Don't let him react and squeeze. The bald men galloped to the chainman. The man with the spear struck him. A sound of love stuck in him. He let out a loud scream. Blood spurts out from the pierced place like a stream. I can't believe seeing this scene is suspicious. Gray jacket white. This is the 5th team of deacons and deacons. In the deacon's eyes is the image. The gods are chained by chains. He was also stabbed by a chain. The blood spilled. At a blinking speed. They've destroyed almost all of the gods here. I can't help but feel so strongly. This is your Majesty's 5. Always training in secret. But still at the top of the mountain. Report the situation to the princess. The Lord in the white deacon took Ra alive. The other enemies were defeated. The cold face becomes fun. Smile very well. At the port of Hydeem. Clear blue sky. The wind is soft and cool. Sun Chan today is very suitable to go out to sea. It's right below the scene of a ship preparing to sail. People are busy. An army is lined up to prepare for departure. All-day broken LAN recipe, says Kier. The team will start with us. It was interesting to attack them at first. The result is now to lead them home. Spirit-haired pink mistress bearded beside supplements, who told us not to fight them. It's not far from the two of them. I was about to leave, and I told them a few things. Then Liu Feng told with a Jin. The Torala Empire. For in our hands, we hold their prince. So they don't dare to mess with them. But careful exploration is indispensable. If necessary, what I put on the boat. Steam doesn't need to be economical, just use it. Jieba confidently raised his muscular arm to speak. Don't worry, Your Majesty. I will definitely protect Miss Lin. Lin next door also happily raised thumb for Jieba. If you see that, you are safe. Until then, it's hard for you, Jieba. The wind turns to Ili La say, Ili La your side. But before I could speak, I was interrupted by Ili La. Don't worry. The lesson has me. You don't have to worry about lesson. Wait for my good news. Save the room and nod. And then to summarize. Everyone's safety is most important. If you are in danger, you can abandon the mission. Bazin Jieba and Azila nod yes. I know, he put his hand on his head, Lim laughed. Lim takes good care of herself. Lin laughed loudly and said, don't you worry, we are waiting for the good news. Liu Feng spoke up. Then the people get on the boat. Steamboat with funnels slowly out to sea. On a boat. Two sailors happily sail the boat. The two happily shouted, let's go. Follow Your Majesty's fleet, I've just come here. I told you, all the boats swim out into the ocean. Go to another heaven. After everyone has gone, 3 men return to the castle. Siley is still in tears, looking out at the boat in the distance. Mina and I talk to each other. Ask Mina. John and Avizi are starting, right? Mina was right today. They've managed to sneak into the mercantile fleet as planned. But the missing. Building real money pages cannot slow down Sao. He closed his eyes slowly and explained to Mina. What do you say? It's going to be an important part of our insurance. It still doesn't work in front of me. Mina suspect or insurance. But the missing. The effect of money is not to benefit Sao. Transacting across the ocean, carrying money is not safe. Save the head, massage Mina. Laughing, explaining this is not difficult. Then save the wind turn raw. Behind the call, Chili is still in tears. Silicon, explain it. Siley heard that suddenly, the clip hurriedly turned around. Yes. Siley explained it in Your Majesty's words. If you successfully open the money page on Kier, maybe many people will use it. Once there is a war. We just need to take the property of money. Mina replied, that's not it. Not waiting for Mina to say, Liu Feng replied. So the synod is just a cover. Our true purpose is to John and Avenzi can successfully build money page. He said, look to the distance. Hope all goes well. Somewhere in the world. Go back and announce the situation for saving. Your Majesty the Beast and the Spirit Fleet of the Forest. Also divided half of the escort troops. Let's start our fleet. Ask like a great. How does the other half arrange? As the answer, yes. The other one's on Team 5. More. Each of us has at least one of us. Not planned for 3 months. Elite soldiers of the animal kingdom of Kier will be completely reformed by us. Happy to nod and answer. The people over there are working hard. They talk to each other. There's a beast that says, I told you to work in the Han Dynasty salary. The beast heard that very surprisingly. Doubt or wonder if it is real or fake. Then he remembered something and asked for help. But His Majesty, the beast Prince Kier, how do we arrange it? I thought about it for a while. Well, he's okay. As long as people don't die, other things don't matter. He said and turned around and left. Niu Dao movement answer yes. So Feng reached shoulders yawning big to the Chileans and Mina. Let's go back to school. There's a lot of work to do. A day later at the office. Ellie is giving the papers and report the situation for the exile. Save the letter of reply. This policy, keep pushing in this direction. Ellie said yes, young man. A sound of high heels banging on the floor. Mina came in from outside and shouted at the young master. The biologist has news. It's bad news. Mina was holding a roll of paper. I was surprised or asked something. Ellie anxiously asked Tim what happened. Mina shook her head and said it had nothing to do with her. Ellie recognized the problem. The house has nothing to do with her. She's really the SAO house queen. After reading the report, Mina brought in. He replied, that's what Ra is. Ellie still doesn't know what happened. Doubt or ask the young man. What happened? Liu Feng said, to break off cooperation with the two sides are fighting. Mina added, now control the great master, the house of God, to occupy the royal capital. According to our news, parts of the world power of theosophy. It's starting to work. In the head of aesthetics. The man of the spear is gone. Their great masters are afraid that it will become chaotic. Although 8T is added, but afraid of not being able to feed the family. Watch the Jin family turn into a pot of porridge. The problem is Han Dynasty. Is it necessary to take advantage of this? Ask Ellie what Tim Modi is doing. Ellie replied now she's in South Sa Zing. To reclaim their own territory. The situation is much better here. Send this message to Tim Modi. Let her pay attention. Mina asked the young master, what should we do? Liu Feng replied with a smile. Just sit back and watch a big play. The capital city of Kim. Black smoke rising from the buildings. The princess sits on the high court, while drinking tea and listening to the deacon standing next to the report. Without bowing his head. Your Majesty, the entire resistance army has been destroyed. The capital is ours now. The princess said that very hard. What about other directions? When asked, the judge returned the report. Yes, you two stink. Bach managed to capture the second city. The third of the family. And at the same time, we picked out a group of men to start training. People who come to actively participate. And all the people gathered in a crowd. That 3 men with the highest hand have been noticed. It's all based on your Majesty's strategy. The princess laughed for a moment. He turned to the man kneeling on the ground. You have to thank the teacher, right? Master teacher. The teacher is kneeling on the ground right now. Scowl face is full of revenge curse adventure. You will pay the price. God will punish you. The princess raised her hand to dust the table. The face doesn't care. Let's record your nonsense at the checkpoint. We've never had people like you. But they were soon pushed into the landfill by us. It's history. One brought the Cardinal Ra to his knees. Put your hands on him in front of the people. Next to her was the voice of the princess. Your gods have kept this place dry for too long. That we just need to develop ungodliness. It will be easy to get excited, who are soon disgruntled with you. As if afraid of being punished by God. In front of the teacher are people whose angry faces point. He looked at me sweating. Maybe I can't see anymore. The teacher turned his head coldly. The princess doesn't have many words. Immediately ordered to pull down and pay attention to him. We need him to complete his mission. Clean up this city. When the servant heard that, he took the order. Princess Adventurous, now a teacup handle. One hand up. Continue to ask for a commission. Continue reporting other news. Pink accepts yes for an hour. Then pick up the report and read on. Now the remaining power of the gods. They are adjusting their forces. But according to intelligence, now their internal divisions are extremely large. We're debating whether AI will succeed the cardinal. The conflict between the two most powerful. There may be a war going on. The two leaders don't look at each other's faces. The people under him quarreled. Princess Adventurous' face seems satisfied. Of course, that's the next news. I can't wait to say that other news comes from Han Dynasty. When I heard this, the princess was silent. Van hands around the hot cup of tea smoke rising up. Would like to hear more details. Pink continues to read. The Han Dynasty sent a fleet. Tozola and La Sun empires. They want to grow their business across the ocean. The princess suddenly raised her head to investigate. Han business? The Sao Dynasty knew the train. Pink accepted the hesitancy to answer. I heard it was because fleet of Tozola and La Sun provided the route. Moreover, they were fought. That paid a large fine. Hear that? The princess grimaced and bit her lips. I can't believe your face is not good. But I still have to say more. Your Highness, if the Han Dynasty borrows this opportunity, Lin Min with Tazilla and La Sun, it would be bad for us. The two countries are allied. Our interests are bound up. If you add the Han Dynasty, according to the Hong Deacon on the map, La Sun and Tazilla are the two countries at the bottom. The Fabro is the middle of the three kingdoms including the Han Dynasty. La Sen and Tozola. If these three countries join the alliance, then the chances of Fabro turning around are almost zero. Talk about here. The deacon tried to make a proposal to His Majesty. Or do we pray to your Majesty? To accelerate the conquest of Han, our dynasty. Consider this proposal for a moment. The princess answered. I don't feel the need for lime. Close your eyes and think again, with my understanding of what Toro is and is. Regardless of the narrow knowledge base. Or a spirit whose face is higher than the human. They must suffer great losses. Before the Han Dynasty, you can sit in front of the negotiating table. Suddenly, the princess opened her eyes. A cold smiling face. That was Pro. We will fill the void. That infiltrate the beasts or spirits of Kier. When he heard that, he laughed and said, Ra is like that. If possible, a grid that captures the painting and the painting. Your Majesty will be delighted. I will inform the king, your Majesty. But in contrast to the mood of the Red Deacon, the princess crossed her arms coldly prevented. No need. Intelligence and real-world performance are two concepts. What I need is real results. To raise the stakes for my future. Do you understand? The princess is fooling me. In spite of the fear of sweating, he hurriedly nodded and said yes. After it's over, the princess waved her hand and gave the order. Get back down. Pink dare not argue. He bowed his head and bowed his head. There is only one now.